Hi. Just getting all set up over here. I hope you're all doing well. Happy Thursday. It's almost the weekend. I have had a really good week overall. Definitely feeling a little bit affected by the full moon. Um, Not in any particular way, just noticing things are really out of my control this week and learning to go with the flow. So, I don't know if anyone else has tuned into that, whether you have or not. I hope you've had a wonderful week and gotten a little bit of the abundant energy that the full moon has to share with us. I am going to wait just a minute or two to see if anyone comes on the live call, and then I will go ahead and start sharing all of the information we have for week 3. So, talking about elimination of toxins and then how that supports immune health. All right, well, you know what? It's 12:03 and I just have an hour. I'll be hopping on another call after, so I'm going to go ahead and get started for you all. Let's see. All right. I think my screen is being shared. Me. Hold on one moment. Okay. All right. Well, so welcome again. Excited to share this information with you. And what I really hope that you will see as oh, I'm getting a funny message. Okay. As I continue to peel through the pillars and kind of unload some of this information on you, is that you start to see how everything is really interconnected. And that is one of my favorite parts about holistic nutrition and studying, yes, the science of food and how that affects our body and also how that affects other systems, and then creates really, a whole healthy version of ourself from inside out. And I think you'll see that as we kind of look at the elimination side of things. So, elimination of toxins and immune health. And as we focus on this pillar, I want you to just think back to pillar number 1, gut health, right? So we talked about how over 80% of our immune system lives in our gut, and it's critical that we really tackle that aspect. And we'll tie that back into today for sure. But healthy gut function, governs ease or dis-ease in the body, right? Often excess weight, skin conditions, neurological disorders, etc. All those things that we talked about. And then we also learned from pillar number 2, when we talked about eating for energy, what food breaks down to in the body, and then how to fuel for long-lasting energy. And then now we're going to shift and really talk about how to sustain that energy by making sure we're getting rid of the toxins and supporting our system on a daily basis. So kind of the what's going out now is a little bit what we're going to focus on today. So detoxification, right? And I like to think of it as part of our everyday life. And by doing so, we kind of commit to not making detoxification a huge barrier, right? So one of my big kind of, I guess I'll say, part of my philosophy around nutrition and health is really finding the least barriers to a healthy lifestyle. And I say that because I don't want any of this to be cumbersome and really difficult. I want it to be a flowing process. And so committing to helping our detox pathways every single day, to me, takes away that burden to such a, takes away burdens and barriers to the healthy lifestyle. And so this is a flowing process, right? It's not like a 3 or 7 or 30-day dose, and then the rest of the year we're not paying attention to what's happening in our detoxification organs. Really, if we support those pathways every single day, just a little bit, right, we have a much better chance of clearing away the chemicals that we're constantly being bombarded with. And those are coming from toxins in our food, just the atmosphere, products, so beauty and cleaning. And we then work to avoid body burdens. We work to avoid having an overload, a heavy toxic burden on our bodies. And so why detoxification, right? A lot of people will say, well, our bodies detox naturally. But unfortunately, and they do for sure, but there's lots of compounds, and I always bring to attention like glycophosphates and herbicides, phthalates and BPA in plastics, parabens in cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. And like these are just some of the chemicals that are used commercially every single day that whether or not we directly ingest them, we're being exposed to. And all of those compounds really have a pretty profound negative effect on our cellular level. And something I love about food is what it breaks down to in the body and then how it feeds our cells, right? So food, good food, positive effect on our cells, whereas these toxins, right, have a negative effect on the cellular level. And I just have this quote from this an MD that I look up to. Says, the longer these toxins are in contact with our cells, the more likely they are to cause damage to our organs and other bodily systems, right? And so the longer they're in our body, the more chance we have to develop those autoimmune diseases, unfortunately, diseases such as cancer and things like that. And so one of the best ways to really reduce that toxic load, the chemical burden that I was just talking about that we carry, is to eat in a way that optimizes our body's natural detoxification pathways. And really, it's better to help keep this elimination happening constantly and especially at the time of exposure rather than allowing them to accumulate and then going on some sort of radical cleanse. So, like I said, every day versus a very controlled detox. And so when looking at detoxification, I just genuinely don't believe that we need to subsist on like juices and herbs, for a period of time. I think that and I know that there are these whole foods to support our body on a daily basis. But it's kind of funny because programs like lemon juice flushes and coffee enemas, fruit-only diets, there are these programs that are kind of funky that are flourishing, and then a lot of people end up dismissing detoxification as a fad. And I just don't want you to be too quick to reject the idea of detoxification altogether. And that's why we're going to talk about eating to promote our body's natural detoxification functions. And really that way you can look and feel better without these extreme interventions. And lots of our organs, right, are equipped with the detoxification superpowers that we really need. And so with this nutritional support, their powers get even stronger. And just for example, our liver, right, neutralizes environmental pollutants that could trigger a range of health effects. Our kidneys filter waste from our blood. Our skin releases toxic elements via our sweat. And then the digestive system really shuttles waste out of our body with each bowel movement. And so kind of when I came back to in the beginning, like people ask why, if the body cleanses itself, do we need to have the conversation around detox? And I just think we are really exposed to an unprecedented amount of toxins in our environment today, right? It's different than it used to be, environmentally speaking, and our food system is different. So with the toxins that we take in through our food, as well as cosmetics, anything that we're putting on our skin is different today than it was. And so these are kind of my 3 basic rules that I really think you should start practicing every day. And there's a lot of things that I could come up with, right? But like little pieces that you may not really think about make a huge difference. And so things I want you to focus on, of course, that elimination. So peeing, pooping, and sweating every day. Eating cruciferous vegetables every single day. So those being broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, things like that. And I'll talk a little bit about why in a little while. And then rule number 3, eating the metal detectors every day. So those being turmeric, seaweed, cilantro, onions, garlic. So these you can see are just like pillars that you can bring into your everyday that aren't radical changes, but are really going to help you support these organs of elimination. So let's get a little deeper now and explore kind of the why behind I'm making these suggestions. So focusing kind of on number 1 first in a way. So peeing, pooping, and sweating, right? And I'll come back to the sweat. So let's really just focus on the large intestine. So pathways of elimination, right? And we're going to talk about the organs that are associated with those pathways. So the first one being the large intestine. So how to support the colon in the elimination of our bowels are these things I have on the table. So I want you to focus on eating plenty of soluble fiber found in foods, such as, the soluble fiber really comes from the oats, nuts, seeds, beans, lentils, and peas. And imagine the fiber as like an intestinal Swiffer, I've heard it described as. So to help clear your large intestine out. So really like cleaning, Swiffering around, and then pulling the waste out of your body with each bowel movement. And so that's our large intestine, first organ that we're going to talk about. And I want you to start like getting comfy around this idea that your elimination is a really good telltale sign of your internal health. So I want you to maybe take a peek at your stools, at your bowel movements after you go, and looking for like a medium brown color and, having a little curve and fairly smooth. It's normal to have some cracks in there, but fairly smooth coating around the stool. So just checking that out to see if you are passing the elimination, and that gives you a sign of if your large intestine is actually clearing out. And then just something that I tend to steer away from are treatments like colonics. So they actually tend to be like a quick fix. Like if you feel backed up, it might be something you lean on and kind of masks something deeper happening. And that may be the opportunity to kind of go back to pillar 1 and start optimizing your digestive system and really working on creating a healthy gut microbiome. Because things like colonics tend to disrupt the intestinal flora, right? And we want to have that really nice balance of the beneficial bacteria overcrowding the negative bacteria. And something like a colonic is going to wipe out all bacteria. It doesn't know, if it's going to take out the good guys or the bad guys. So, definitely not on a regular basis. I guess I'll offer that to you. And then for the liver, so shifting a little bit, in order to support the liver, right, we need to eat a diet with really high quality protein. And I'll share why right after this slide. So proteins are breaking down into amino acids, those little chains that we talked about last week that are so important for the bodily functions to happen, for tissue growth, for repair, and for toxin elimination. And then glutathione, which is found in, so it's an not an amino acid, it's an antioxidant, and it's found in things like carrots and broccoli, avocado, spinach, apples, asparagus, and melon. And I just want to read to you what is glutathione and why it's so important. And this is actually a quote from, or a little paragraph from Dr. Mark Hyman. And I really appreciate his work. And I think that this is something that is not talked about that often. And I just want to expose you to what glutathione is. So it's really one of the most important molecules that you need to stay healthy and prevent aging, cancer, heart disease, dementia, and more. And it's necessary to treat everything from autism to Alzheimer's disease. And he calls it the mother of all antioxidants. And the good news is that your body produces its own glutathione. The bad news is that toxins from a poor diet, pollution, toxins from medications, stress, so stress is huge, trauma, aging, infections, and radiation all deplete your body's natural stores of the glutathione. So, just thinking about that, right, we're all probably exposed to a little bit or one or two of those every single day, when we think about maybe poor diet, pollution, stress, medications, things like that. So if we're constantly depleting glutathione, we really need to be replenishing it through our dietary strategy. And so what he says is that it leaves you really susceptible to unrestrained cell disintegration from oxidative stress. And that's free radicals, infections, cancer, things like that. And then your liver gets overloaded and damaged, making it unable to do its job of detoxification. So that is why glutathione is so important, and we want to make sure that we're constantly eating foods rich in glutathione to increase our reservoir within our body and within our liver. And then I have on here selenium, which is, we know, a micronutrient, and an antioxidant as well, and something that doesn't get enough focus. I think that we tend to think of antioxidants, we think of vitamin C, vitamin E, things like that. And some of these micronutrients, although, as we learned last week, we need them in small amounts, they're really, really important for these internal bodily processes to happen. And so selenium, one of the richest sources of selenium is Brazil nuts. And I actually recommend to all of my clients, and I do this myself, I just eat 2 raw Brazil nuts every morning. They don't taste great, to be honest, but you want to make sure that you're getting enough selenium into your diet. And, so those other antioxidants, like I could have written antioxidants there. I just think generally we know what antioxidants are, and we tend to try to consume them. But in case you are unsure what other antioxidants are, those are things like vitamin C. So we can think about citrus fruits, bell peppers, berries, broccoli, things like that, kiwis, vitamin E, so our nuts and seeds, avocados, beet greens, spinach, beta carotene, so that orange color that we find in carrots and sweet potatoes and squashes, really rich this time of year, so a really great time to focus on those seasonal squashes. Zinc, which is found really, really highly in oysters, crab, lobster, so some of our seafood, and then pumpkin seeds, cashews, almonds, some of those nuts for the plant options. And then, selenium, of course, like I said, so the oats, Brazil nuts, really, really strong. Mushrooms, mushrooms are really rich in selenium. And then some of the fish again, so tuna, salmon, halibut, shrimp, things like that. So those are some of the things that I want you to focus on for supporting the liver. And the next slide is going to be a lot of information. So I want you to kind of really focus on those things, the high quality protein, the support of glutathione and selenium, and overall your antioxidants. And this is why. So this is a picture of the detoxification that happens in your liver. And there are 2 phases. And so I guess first let's just start by saying that, or adding to the food list for things to focus on. Because if you take away anything from this conversation, you probably aren't going to remember step 1 and step 2 of liver detoxification, but you might, trigger, oh yeah, I should eat more antioxidants. I should eat more high quality protein. And these are things to add. So cruciferous vegetables. And that's one of my, I think that's number 2 on my 3 rules, right? So this is something that you can really add in every day, I think, in a sustainable way. And so compounds found in cruciferous vegetables increase our cellular response, or sensitivity, you could say, to the enzymes in the liver, and really help remove the toxins and the undesirable elements out. And so one of the liver's most important roles, right, is to filter the waste products and remove any of the harmful substances that our body kind of labels as harmful, right? And it passes then, through the blood, through the stomach and the intestines, and it moves out of the body. But without the liver functioning optimally, every other phase kind of comes to a screeching halt. So think about the liver, I like to say, as an inspection facility, right? So it decides kind of which packages are beneficial and which are not. And when the liver finds something toxic, it separates that dangerous compound from the substance in which it's found and removes it from the blood. And that's considered phase 1. So that's step 1. And we need a whole host of enzymes present in our body and in our liver in order to carry out phase 1, in order for our body to detect what's harmful and remove it. And then the liver's second step, or phase 2, is to actually rid your body from those harmful compounds by carrying them out through the bile. So there's specific nutrients that we need for step 2. And our job overall, like if what you can take away and focus on, if you have more capacity than just the foods, is that we need to eat the foods that help keep both parts of this detoxification process running efficiently, and that protect the liver from the toxins, but also the byproducts of detoxification, right? We need both steps running efficiently. And so you can see, we really need a lot of B vitamins. We need the antioxidants. We need the high quality proteins and amino acids. And we need those in phase 1. And then we also need those amino acids, the glutathione, the sulfur compounds, which are found in cruciferous vegetables. And that's why the cruciferous vegetables is such an important add-on to our daily strategy to enhance detoxification, because we need those in fairly high amounts in order to actually carry the waste out of our body. And the issue that we tend to see is that if step 2 is not working super efficiently, because step 1, like, we tend to eat, a fair amount, I think, of those antioxidants, of a general diet gets just enough to help cleanse the blood. And that's like first and foremost, the body knows how to do that. But then the carrying out of the body, if that process is delayed, we see the byproducts of phase 1 lingering in the bloodstream, and those can be more toxic than the original product. And so it's just the efficiency of what can we do to help support both phases working in, harmony with each other. And definitely making sure that you're getting enough amino acids, enough high quality protein, plenty of your cruciferous vegetables are 3 things you can really do to support the cleansing of your liver on a daily basis. And then step 3, right, or rule 3, I think I had it listed as, is the metal detectors. And so when you're thinking about food, right, sometimes people think of like, oh, if it's organic or not organic, you think about the toxins coming in through food. But I think we don't often think enough about heavy metals like lead and mercury and arsenic that are in our environment, in many, many forms, often through our drinking water, just through showering, like things that we take in every single day. And these can really cause a lot of organ damage and increase risk for cancer. I'm not trying to scare you when I say this. It's just that we have to think of health as like the whole broad spectrum, and understand that in order to help prevent that from happening and prevent the onset of chronic disease that's so prevalent in society today, even at a young age, we can use nutrition, right? Which is why I just love it's so magical, kind of, that food has these amazing tools. And so the metal detectors, turmeric, seaweed, cilantro, onions, garlic, these things actually have compounds in them that help cleanse the blood and cleanse metal, pulling those heavy metals out of your system. And then, of course, as long as your liver phase 1 and phase 2 are working properly, you get the elimination through your urine, through your bowel movements, through sweat, things like that. So again, I find that these suggestions can be ones that are just added to meals, right? Chop up some onions and garlic, saute them in with your stir fry. Add some turmeric. Sorry, I'm going to just mute my phone. Add some ground turmeric to your curry, toss it into a smoothie, soup, right? And then things like cilantro, I could have had parsley on here too, just keeping a bunch in your refrigerator at all time, chopping it up, putting that on salads. I love some herbs on top of just like a little garnish on salads. You can put them in smoothies. You can make salad dressings out of them. So a lot of opportunity to add these things in to your daily life to help remove those heavy metals from your system. And then a little bit of a transition to the anti-inflammatory foods and detox. And so foods high in omega-3 fatty acids, and we had this conversation last week, the difference between omega-3 and omega-6 and the anti-inflammatory effect that we see from omega-3s. And I'm going to take this a little bit deeper for you. So really they help our body detox on two levels. First, they really help keep just systematic inflammation in check. So our immune system is working to fight off invaders, right? Creating inflammation in the body. And that's actually a good thing. So we kind of create these little barriers, these like pockets of inflammation to help keep the body safe. So a little bit of inflammation is good. That's what our immune system is set up to do. Chronic inflammation, however, often driven by diets heavy in the refined carbohydrates, the highly processed meats, and a lot of sweets and sugars, kick off reactions that create oxidative stress in the body. And so those are those free radicals that I've talked about, which the antioxidants really help to scavenge and pull out of our body. So of course, we're kind of coming back to antioxidants even in this conversation around omega-3 fatty acids. But basically, those free radicals are really unstable compounds that can start to create a chain, like a cellular chain reaction that really causes damage on deep level. And research is actually now really saying that diseases, I feel like I've mentioned cancer so many times today, and I'm sorry about that, but such as cancer and things like Alzheimer's are actually really linked to a lot of free radical damage in the body. And so understanding that, helping to support our body by eating more of the anti-inflammatory omega-3s, eating plenty of antioxidants, and really avoiding those pro-inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids, we can start to decrease the unstable free radicals that are present in our system at any given time. And so I talked about, reducing intake of omega-6 last week, and I know some people had some questions on this, but really just think about omega-6 fatty acids being really prominent in most commercial meats and processed foods, and also those partially hydrogenated vegetable oils that I talked about. And so we just really want to be working towards reducing the intake of those, right? And then, like, on the contrary of reducing that underlying chronic inflammation by taking away the omega-6, we work to support our body with these omega-3s that really target the toxins directly. And so there's a lot of research that say that these fats actually prevent damage to the circulatory system, right? That are caused by foods, that are caused by things like PCBs, right? Other chemicals that are coming in. And so by increasing those, we actually work to prevent our circulatory and prevent damage on the cellular level. And not only that, by preventing that damage, right, your body has a greater ability to work its magical powers on detoxification because your overall systemic inflammation is lower. So that's how you kind of wrap it full picture, saying, oh, if my immune system is not working so hard at fighting the free radicals and at trying to keep my inflammation at check, it can pour some of its attention on my detoxification pathways and on supporting my liver. So it all kind of begins to come full circle. And then just thinking about toxins and health goals. And I guess I want to explain the mechanism of how toxins affect various health goals. And so I just chose 3 to chat about. The first one being weight gain, the second one being inflammation in your GI tract, and then, of course, our neurological system and kind of mindset around food. And so starting with this mechanism of how toxins kind of make people gain weight, right? And so if one of your health goals happens to be reducing weight, this is something that you can explore a little bit. And toxins are stored in body fat because the body innately will pull the toxins out of circulation to protect other organs, right? So like I said, phase 1 happens pretty regularly because the body wants to pull those toxins out of the bloodstream and protect our liver, protect our gallbladder, protect our other organs, right? So the fat has little blood supply, right? And so it can actually hold on to those toxins without damaging the body so much. So we accumulate a lot of toxins in our fat. And then the toxins can disrupt the chemical reactions in the cells, causing the elimination pathways to come inhibited, making it even more likely for people to gain weight and have trouble losing weight. So when we have an excess of toxins holding in our extra fat cells, we begin to have an interruption and a disruption of the natural chemical reactions that happens in the cells in order to let the elimination pathways reduce and let go of those toxins. So we pull into the fat, and then we tend to hold on to that. And unless your liver is working like and clockwork, and that phase 1 and phase 2 are right on track, it's hard then for the body to pull the toxins back out of your fat. So that's where the trouble losing weight comes in, unless you focus a lot on how to support the pathways of eliminations that we talked about and stimulate the release of toxins from your stored body fat. And then toxins, looking at inflammation, right? So toxins cause inflammation in the GI tract. And then the blood kind of leading in that state of inflammation can lead to autoimmune diseases, food allergies, and food intolerances. So if you are suffering from an autoimmune disease, or if you feel like all of a sudden you're having a lot of reactions to food allergies and intolerances, and that's one of your health goals, we can look at reducing your toxin burden, your overall toxic load, and then also supporting that through your organs of elimination. So we want to, decrease that toxic burden so that you can decrease your overall level of inflammation, especially in your GI tract, because that's where so many cells in your immune system live. And then looking at the connection between the gut and the brain. So toxins actually affect the brain, which then hinder our mindset and our ability to balance our, mind-body connection, as well as our approach to food. And so I think many of you joined this program wanting to have a more sustained, balanced view on overall health and nutrition. And when we have an inflammation or excess toxins floating around in our body, right, we start to get a little bit of brain fog, maybe fatigue, and that really has a negative effect on our overall mindset and ability to create change, our ability to have the energy to eat well each day, to bring in some of these tools that I've shared with you over the past few weeks. And so those are just 3 ways that having an excess amount of toxins may affect some of the health goals that you are all working with. And, just something to be aware of. Again, it's kind of coming full circle, because it's like, wait, why is, the idea of detoxification so important? Why is that a pillar to functional nutrition? Why do toxins affect me so much? But I hope that you can see now that, this burden that we then carry if we have a lot of toxins in our body really affects many different avenues of our overall health and really our daily life. And so, pausing for a sip of tea. So, eating for toxin support, right? So this is just a little bit of a recap, because I think that I've kind of gone deep into the why and want to make sure that you have specific takeaways from this lesson. So eat plenty of high quality protein. Protein really assists in the liver's ability to detox and to help remove the chemicals and toxins, right? If the liver doesn't have the adequate protein that it needs, the toxins will be slow to leave the body. And like I said, they can become more toxic if sitting in limbo. If the phase 1 and phase 2 are not working, and you have these byproducts of, liver 1 detoxification, they can be more toxic sitting in that place of limbo. So we need that protein to carry out the toxins. And then a little bit of a focus on just organic meat and dairy products for a moment. So it's really evident, right, that we store toxins in our fat, which means that animals also store their toxins in their fat, right? And so if we're eating a lot of conventionally produced meat, we tend to take on their toxic overload as well. And we know that pesticides, antibiotics, herbicides, things like that are used, if not in the food, on the grass, around where those conventionally raised animals are living and in their environment. So especially when focusing on helping our body detox, we want to look towards buying organic meat and dairy products as often as possible. Really, and then also, to be honest, that comes in the form of fruit and vegetables too. And I am a huge advocate for food quality for many reasons, but I did grow up on an organic vegetable farm, if you didn't know that, kind of fun fact. So food quality is really, really important to me. And I guess my suggestion here is take a look at the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 that the Environmental Working Group puts out. They put out a really nice infographic letting consumers know what products are produced with the least amount of pesticides and those that are produced with the most and should really be bought organic. And so if you are not able to buy everything organic, look at that infographic. And again, that's by the Environmental Working Group. Excuse me. And that will help give you an idea of what fruits and vegetables are a little bit safer to buy on the conventional side and which ones you should really err on the organic side. And then, of course, eating our antioxidants. So we want to fight those toxins. We want to help the cells. We want to capture those free radicals. So focusing on things like the berries, broccoli, bell peppers, things rich in selenium, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin E. Green tea is really high in antioxidants. That's something that may be easy for you to bring in on a daily basis. And then eating plenty of foods that are coming from the B vitamin family. And I didn't talk too much about that today, but we know that the B vitamin family is some of the essential nutrients needed for phase 1 of liver detoxification. So focusing on those. And then, of course, our anti-inflammatory omega-3 foods, super, super important. And kind of leaving you with a little bit of what not to do. And it's just really eating less refined sugar. And so sugar affects the liver's ability to clear toxins and pulling from the bloodstream and really hinders our immune system. So, I think So if there's anything, for eating for toxin support, it's all these things to focus on, and then a little pull just to really try and reduce the amount of refined sugar that's coming into your body every day. All right. And then so much talking. I taught 2 yoga classes this morning, so I feel like I've just been speaking for several hours and it's only noon. But anyways, I wanted to share with you a few non-nutrition detoxification strategies. And so some of the organs of elimination that we kind of focus on when thinking actually about not necessarily nutrition is the skin and the lymphatic system. And so something I love for the skin, yes, sweating, I talked about that in the beginning. And so just letting the skin breathe and open up the pores and letting the toxins kind of release through sweat. But also hydrotherapy. And so alternating hot and cold in your shower is so good to help kind of shrink the skin and then open it up. And it really releases when it opens back up. And so I usually say 30 seconds on cold. We'll start with 3 minutes on hot and then go 30 seconds to cold. And then back and forth for about 3 minutes. And if you can end on cold, I know it's harder as we transition into the winter season, but it's so rejuvenating, wakes me right up, and just so, so good for your skin. And then something I like to share, and I bring this into practice every so often, is castor oil packs. So castor oil actually pulls toxins from your organs out through your skin, and you use like a cotton wool to kind of absorb all of the toxins and then just wash it. And so you can get a high quality castor oil. And there are all ladies in this group. So I tend to do this over my uterus and then also on my liver. And I find it helps a lot with premenstrual symptoms and just helping kind of release excess estrogen and helping to pull also hormones that we no longer need out of our system, which is not really a focus for today, but just something to be aware of. So if you're feeling like you kind of need a little extra support in that sense, I usually recommend 2 times a week for 8 weeks and just see if you're noticing any differences, especially around your menstrual cycle. And then, of course, trips to the steam room or sauna, and then just exfoliating your skin, getting the dead skin cells off, right? And then for the lymphatic system, something that is really important is to avoid wearing the antiperspirant, right? And so we actually want our body to sweat. We have a lot of lymph nodes in our armpits and groin areas, and we want those to be kind of free, open, flowing, and we want them to have the ability to release as they want to let the toxins out. And something just to think about is like if you feel like your sweat, your odor is you have a kind of distinct odor and it smells to you maybe foul, right? Like that's your body letting go, and that's a good thing. And it's funny that we've been trained to want to cover that up and avoid it, and that's just masking what's happening on a deeper level drastically, right? It's not letting your body release those toxins. And so I assure you that if you let go of the antiperspirant, it may take a week, a month, but slowly as your body's able to actually release and let go, you'll notice your odor start to really decrease. And then, just kind of a pull here for making sure you're wearing cotton underwear and not synthetic, so close to those areas in your groin. Let's see. Oh, I think I have that on here twice. Oh, from the lymphatic system, also really getting massages or having your partner massage you or a friend, just moving around your skin and really helping to increase your circulation. It helps your lymph nodes then drain and let go of toxins as well. So, not something that's necessarily the focus of this program, but just knowing again that this detoxification kind of comes full circle. And these are other avenues you can take if you really decide, you know what, I want to spend a week bringing all of these principles in and like really concentrating. This is, some of these things are options to invite into that process to further help you detox, not something that you need to do every day, kind of like my rules of detoxification, but just something that you could do on occasion to really help support your overall process of detoxification. And then toxic overload and the immune system. So switching a little bit, I guess I do want to say here, much of what I've already covered, though, actually really supports the immune system. So just letting go of toxins and supporting your organs of elimination is supportive to the immune system, right? It releases the burden that your body then has to fight to keep you in ease, in a state of health. So we're kind of going to think back a little bit to optimizing digestion here. So thinking about, 80% of our immune system lives in our GI tract, right? And it's directly linked to our immune system in the sense that that common cold, that you maybe experience, or if you feel like you get the flu a lot, or if you have seasonal allergies, I want you to first, before actually focusing on the immune system, step back to our conversation on optimizing the GI tract, because a really good place to actually start when you're seeing a weakened immune system is your gut. So that's kind of my first pull. But then, of course, let's kind of look at how the immune system is related to toxins, right? And so know that when the immune system is compromised, it's unable to remove our toxins from the body as regularly. And this really leads to, kind of like I said earlier, the increased chance of autoimmune diseases as the chemicals attach to body cells and actually cause our own antibodies to start attacking ourselves, right? And then when the immune system is activated, it kind of has bigger fish to fry. So it wants to help keep you healthy when it could be detoxing. So if you have an overactive immune system, right, or if something's going on in terms of autoimmunity, in terms of overgrowth of bacteria, of disease in one way or another, your body's ability to detox decreases a little bit because it just, has the bigger fish to fry. It's got to keep you healthy. It has to keep you waking up every day and keep you moving through life. So just think about, kind of this conversation that we're having around supporting those avenues of detoxification. That way, if your immune system is ever really taxed and overcompromised, your body still has the ability to detox without the excess support. And then, I have some notes here, and I guess I'm just thinking that's kind of repetitive into our conversation around the immune system and the gut. And so I think it's just very, very important that you continue to reflect and to tie together optimizing your GI tract and your gut and your digestion in order to support your immune system. And when your immune system is supported, it will be able to continuously let toxins out of your body and help with the detoxification process. And on the contrary, if your immune system is not supported, if you don't have a good balance of bugs, in your GI tract, you may start to see an increase in toxic burden because your body's not able to focus on detoxing because it's trying to keep you healthy and living, in a good environment every day. So again, just kind of the full circle, just kind of thinking about how everything ties together and making sure that you just understand really how important optimal gut health is. That way you can eat for sustained energy and let toxins out of your body through detoxification. And then, of course, right, like we want to eat to support the immune system. So when you are optimizing digestion, when you're eating for energy, you're doing a lot of things that naturally support the immune system, but sometimes we need a little extra support, right? We're kind of, especially moving into the fall season, like we have just times when our body our immune system needs a little extra support. And so here you can just kind of read through these. You've probably heard of them, but things to come back to when you're feeling a little bit run down. So highlighting here, elderberry, really high in antioxidants. Like I take an elderberry elixir if I'm feeling something come on, and I swear in a day it's gone. Oregano, so both the herb oregano and then oil for oregano is really, really powerful antibacterial, antiviral that you can take just for like 2 or 3 days. It does wipe out some of that good bacteria. It's kind of like an antibiotic in a natural way. And so you don't want to take oil of oregano for weeks at a time, but you could take it, for 2 to maybe even 5 days to help you knock out some of the negative bacteria that may be coming in through cold, flu, things like that. And then, making sure that you're getting lots of seasonal fruits and veggies. And so our body's immune system reacts really well to what's seasonal. And so supporting right now with the things like apples and lots of squashes, carrots, those root vegetables, right? And so those are naturally rich in the minerals and vitamins that we need right now to support our immune system. And then generally, I say focus on the good, not the bad, or I say focus on what you could be doing more of, and it will kind of overcrowd what you should be doing less of. But in this case, I really, really suggest working towards letting go of the excess sugar, alcohol, caffeine, those processed inflammatory foods, and even really dairy and gluten, because they provide an activation to the immune system during times of weakened immunity. And when you let go of those things, you automatically opt for some of these more nutrient-dense whole foods that support your immune system. And then, of course, rest. Like, our body needs rest. And I know we think that we're measured on success in terms of how much we can do, and I just think that I hope that changes sometime soon, because I think that rest is one of the most important things we can do for our body, for our immune system, for our detoxification. Like, we need to be calm and we need to be kind of chilled out. That way our pathways can work. And so just making sure that you bring an element of rest into your life when you feel like you need it, and trust that your body knows. And if you think you need it, likely you need it. It's hard to give ourselves permission to rest, but it is ever so important. All right, and then something that I like to leave people with is what I consider my Arose and Well detox. And so I say each month, take 5 to 7 days free of alcohol, added sugar, and caffeine. Follow my 3 rules of digestion and detoxification. So digestion, those rules, remembering backward, chew your food really well, eat in a calm environment, slow down and be in your body. And my rules for detoxification: pee, poop, and sweat every single day, eat cruciferous vegetables, and eat your metal detectors. And like, overall, if you do that, right, so each month and then each day, it's over 3 months of gentle toxin cleansing each year, which is really supported. And then you don't need necessarily to do the intense detoxes that so many people kind of think that they need, because for, 11 and a half months out of the year, they've been neglecting their body. So you get this opportunity to support your body every single day in a gentle way. And I want to just briefly talk about the meal plan before I leave you. I'm just going to plug my computer in so it doesn't die. Sorry about that. So the meal plan that you will find on the membership site under week 3, focusing on elimination of toxins, is going to be probably a little lighter than you typically tend to eat, and then some, as well as my other meal plans have been. And by lighter, I mean, yes, fewer calories, but also just foods that are a little easier to digest, and especially smoothies in the morning, in the sense of eating light to heavy, if you will. And so by kind of allowing your body to continue to detox overnight, so the nighttime, I guess I should say, is when our body does a lot of cleansing work. And so when we wake up in the morning, if immediately we put a really heavy, dense meal in, our body's focus shifts to digestion rather than continuously eliminating the toxins and working on cleansing, right? And so this idea of eating a little lighter in the morning, giving you a few more hours to continue to let your body release those toxins and work on cleansing, rather than paying so much attention to all of the digestion from heavy breakfast foods. And so this is not something I practice all the time, but that principle of, like eating light to heavy throughout your day is really nice when you're paying a little extra attention to detox. And so you're having a more of a solid lunch and a snack and, dinner and maybe even fruit after dinner, but just keeping your mornings on the lighter side. And so you'll see, when you look at the meal plan, still getting your nutrients in, still really focusing on our antioxidants, those fresh fruits and veggies, things that are seasonal, high quality protein, cruciferous vegetables. And I guess I want to say that it's okay if you are a little hungry, if you do follow this meal plan kind of to a T, because your body needs a little extra energy to detox. And, it's just like I said, if you're eating a lot, right, your body has a lot to do with all of that food. And when you're eating a little bit less, your body has a little more space and time to let go, to practice the cleansing, and to really work on supporting those organs of elimination. So So yeah, just know that like it's not forever. You don't have to eat, following this meal plan for the rest of your life. Obviously it's 6 days, I think I made it as. And again, if you are feeling like overly hungry, if you're feeling really shaky or unstable, a little bit grumpy, like noticing your emotions that are coming up, noticing if you have a headache, those are all symptoms of detox, and it's not a bad thing. And I invite you to jot them down, like keep a journal as you follow the meal plan and really kind of get in touch with what's happening inside. And just noticing, maybe you have a headache for day 1, day 2, and then by day 3, you wake up feeling amazing. And that's often how it happens. Make sure that you're drinking lots and lots of water to continue to flush. And then, if you just feel like you are ravenous and you're not able to carry out through your day, give yourself some extra nutrition. So maybe you add a scoop of collagen into your tea. Maybe you add a little extra coconut oil to your meals for a little bit more fat, or just increase your portion sizes, or, have 2 snacks rather than 1, something like that. Make sure that you're doing this detox, in a way that is supportive to your body. And it's not meant to be depriving in any sense whatsoever. It's really just meant to nourish your body and really provide all of the nutrients we need without providing excess, right? So giving your body the space to let go of what's no longer needed. I do have a handout on the process of detoxification and signs and symptoms and things like that. So I will add that to the membership site under the handouts section as well. And I am going to leave you at that. So please, please, please feel free to email me with any questions whatsoever. I've been talking to many of you privately through email, which is great. But again, if you have not sent me your client intake form or your digestive wellness questionnaire, your food journal to take a peek at, please feel free to do that. I want to be of support to you. Like, you signed up for this program because you wanted to get something out of it, and the work that you put in is really what you get out. So I'm really here for you, and I want you to know that. And, and on top of that, the free one-on-one 20-minute session to talk about macronutrients for your body. If you want to cash in on that, please, please, please email me and schedule. And I will be trying to connect with all of you in order to schedule our bonus session on stabilizing blood sugar in the next week or 2. So look for an email, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that we can get everyone on the live session for that, so that you can ask questions and talk through everything with me. So I hope that you gained a little bit of valuable information from learning how we can support our detoxification pathways every single day, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. All right, talk to you soon. Bye, guys.